next on Deck with Tim Black.
And I mean, and as somebody who's, my parents, my father was from the Congo and my mother was from Guyana. And so they were the immigrants who came here on purpose and they got the rude awakening. My mother got the rude awakening, like, oh, it's racist here. That's weird. For some reason, she was like, told me, why don't you show? Yeah, she's like, tell me this is the land of opportunity, but not for me. It's so weird. But I am familiar. And so, okay, so now.
I thought it was kind of funny when she said that. And, both her parents are immigrants, and one from the Congo, one from Guyana. And it's like, they didn't know it was white people here? Yeah, they didn't realize that. It just seemed a little strange, but I'm not knocking them, but they are much older than her, right? Because they are her parents. So Jory's like in 50-something, you know what I'm saying? And her parents will be in their 70s. So, I don't know when she came here. I don't know a personal business like that. But it did strike me a little weird. That's all, Just landed a little weird. It landed a little bit weird that Joy was talking like her parents really didn't know much about America, but Joy did okay. Like she did okay. I mean, she buttered the right biscuits and said what she needed to say, and I'm sure she worked hard to do whatever she was doing. She went to great schools. Something worked out, you know what I'm saying? Like, 1 minute I think she was talking about affirmative action that helped her a whole lot. Then she said, no, she earned it out the dirt. She got it out the dirt. I really don't know how she did it, but she did it. There are those that are roasting this. I'm not going to roast it. I'm just going to say I appreciate her being so open about her heritage and about what, and where she comes from. And a lot of Black Americans, I think they just don't. Sometimes we don't recognize that it's a different world, Johnson, when you actually lived and raised in another country, which is what our parents were, and then you come here. The immigrant experience and then the American experience, even if somebody is brown-skinned, they want to tell you it's the same thing. Cops don't know you Black. When they pull you over, you just look Black. They don't know if you're Black American or if you're from Nigeria or Ghana or Congo. They don't know. Well, they know when you start talking. They know when they ask your name, though, don't they? Yeah, they know that. Yeah, it's the scripters. There's things to give off. And then I met, I remember when I did a thing, I had to go to Portland, Oregon. And I got off the plane and I had to catch an Uber. And it was a brother there. Actually, it was Salt Lake City, Utah. Yeah, Salt Lake City, Utah. I was like, man, I thought there was no brothers here. You know what I'm saying? There's Black people in Salt Lake City, Utah. Ain't the only one. Because I was doing a show with a white guy by the name of Lee Camp. It was his comedy tour, and he asked me to do it with him. So anyway, the brother turned around and looked at me and said, "Oh no, I'm not Black. I'm here on studies." He quickly jumped out there like Godfrey. He quickly jumped out and let me know what it was. You know what I'm saying? So nah, man. You ain't gotta be asked if you don't have to, people don't have to look at you to tell. They're very quick to delineate. So part of the delineation where Black people are like, we need to stand up for being Black Americans because people treating us like we get lost in the sauce with this melting pot. They delineate themselves all the time. Yeah, so let's keep going with Joy Reid, man. This is good stuff.
Now let's move on to the election, because now that we've done the palate cleanser and talked about Queen Bee, this election, I think for a lot of people, was a surprise that shouldn't have been a surprise. I know it was for me. I think I had allowed myself the 107-day delusion that it was possible for this incredible, Black and Asian woman to win. And then you were sort of snapped into reality on November 5th. Were you as deluded as I was going in, and what is your reaction to the result?
I mean, I don't know if I was deluded. I thought she was going to win. I did think she was going to win.
Next.
When you hear smart people, when you hear people that you think, how do I say this? When you hear people that you think people think are smart. And I'm not saying they're not smart, but I'm saying, man, you got to understand that what supersedes smartness is what's best for your career. and what's best to say. And I gotta imagine, I must imagine that Joy Reid is playing games right now. And look how adept she is at playing that game. I knew she wasn't going to win, and I don't work for MSNBC. And Joy's been doing this I've been doing this since 2013, 2014. She's been doing this probably before that. How can she not be able to see what I can see? Know what I'm saying? Like, how do I have more access to facts in reality, and why am I more in touch with what's going on in the country than her? So either she's a complete imbecile, right? Either she's a fool or she is playing games. And look how easily she slipped into it like it was sincere. Like, I can't believe, and for a minute, I thought it was possible. Yeah, well, you thought it was possible what? That she could do what? I mean, let's hold up a second. I'm not going to relitigate Kamala Harris's loss, but it doesn't take a rocket science to figure it out. I mean, Kamala Harris didn't have a game plan in place. All she had was money and name recognition. That's it. She had two things. But the name recognition wasn't a positive because she hadn't really done anything with her name for it to ring out. She was vice president, but she didn't use the position to really elevate herself. And maybe that's because of the limitations of the position. But nowadays, you can have a podcast. You can do all types of things you can do yourself to really, if you really want to stand out and you want to step up. You know, she didn't do those things. And if she did, it doesn't matter because it didn't penetrate. And I make content all the time. If she would have been doing things that really resonated her name for the last 4 years, I'd have been talking about it. So the fact that she wasn't doing that, how could you think she's going to just come in and beat Donald Trump, whose name has been in the news for a decade straight the entire time? So Joy Reid and Ta-Nehisi, this is all cap, you know? And so Joy Reid is a hack. And that's why I said to John McWhorter and to Glenn Lowry, both doctors, both smart guys, why are we pretending that Joy Reid ain't full of it? And I guess it's different because they got to work with these people, I guess, or in professional circles that they float. And that's what it's all about. People who have to maintain a certain whatever in order to stay in the club. Yeah, I don't think it's mean to call out Joy Reid, nor do I think you should give her a pass. I think she needs to be called out, and this was some garbage. But that's not even the most interesting part of their conversation. Because I found another clip by Ta-Nehisi. I looked a little further. I said, I want something that has more meat on the bone. Because these two clips been circulating around X, and everybody's commenting on these two. Let's go a little deeper. So here goes Joy Reid and Ta-Nehisi talking a little deeper about society, Trump, MAGA, and inadvertently, on accident, totally on accident, Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to expose Joy Reid.
Is about their anger over the removal of that story and the replacement of that story with a Black liberation narrative, a narrative that we read in the 1619 Project, the sort of, pride in knowing that our history was more complex. They don't like it. No. And Trump is already promising he's going to banish that history again and put us back to where we were then. Mm-hmm. Talk about why that war seems to be so successful and why so many people of color, including some Black people, are willing to vote for it.
Yeah, I don't completely understand.
And not that many, but it's some.
Yeah, some. I don't completely understand that part. I'll be honest with you. I do think this, and this is like like some tough conversations we have to have, and I want to be very clear about this because I'm not insulting anybody. And honestly, Joy, before I even get to that, I have to say, whenever we're talking about people of color or even white people voting for Trump and bringing us to this present catastrophe, I just got to remind folks that there were some very powerful people that could have stopped this and decided not to.
Yeah.
It didn't have to come to this.
Stairs and Merrick Garland.
And why Biden appointed Merrick Garland, and like there were people who they just didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight. They were scared, they got punked, and here we are. You know, and so like I know, you know, on some level it is important to look at the demographics, who voted for this. It never, listen, these people have bills to pay, they got jobs to work, they do not have the luxury, like, you know, people like us of studying every little thing that somebody says and figuring out what is what. But there are people in Washington who are appointed who could have stopped this and just didn't want the smoke.
Now, I appreciate Ta-Nehisi Coates having the wherewithal and the guts to set up, you know, to not put it all on voters, because it's never just the voters, right? Once again, folks, there's just two people put up on the stage. For the most part, that's what the duopoly is all about. And that's why I say we need more parties, we need more options, and I strongly support more options. And I've been on that since 2015. You know, but you know, it's what it is. This is the system. So if you went to the voting booth in 2024, there was limited, like, if you didn't know, if you had Dr. West or Stein on your ballot, you might not even know who they were or what they were about, even if they appeared there. And let's just face it, as far as publicity or access and actually, you know, having the ability to like hear them talk about issues that impact you, there was very little of that you're going to get from anybody outside the Democratic Party. I mean, the Democrats even froze out RFK Jr., Marianne Williamson, and Dean Phillips, and these people ran as Democrats. And they voted Democrat and been, you know, Democrat part of the conversation. So, yeah. You know, but I appreciate him at least saying, hey, these people don't have, you know, these people, they don't pay attention to this stuff. But here's the thing, man, and this must be said. I don't think the average person is voting for America to be better on history. Yeah, if you had the luxury, and this is for all my elite folks out there, if you had the luxury that you can make decisions based on what your kids gonna learn in the history class, you must be good on healthcare, you must be good on rent, you must be good on job, you must be good on paying your energy bill, keeping your lights on, you must be good on your parents' health, you must be good on your own personal health. I mean, there's a whole list of things, the checklist of life that you must run through, that you must have already checked all those boxes, because by the time you get to Black history being the forefront, the most important thing, I mean, damn, you know, that you want to jump out the gym on. And I didn't see Kamala Harris really offering a huge alternative to Black history. The 619 Project. Like, just the fact we got these people that think that is like a major thing. These people won't talk about the immigration of 10 million people coming across the border that are going to compete with moderate skilled to low skilled Black folks, Black men, in particular Black men who don't have degrees. The demographic that gets the least amount of degrees will be the most impacted by the influx of people coming across that border. And neither one of them talk about it at all. I don't have to watch this entire thing to know they're not going to talk about it. And if they do, they're just going to demonize people that criticize it. And I think that's enough issue for every Black man that voted not to vote Democrat. It's not for themselves, for their cousins, for their neighbors, for their sons, for Black people in general. So, like, that would be enough right there. If it was reported correctly that they knew that, if they knew that it's not about how many people that got deported under Biden, it's about all the people that got through. It ain't about the number of deportations. It's about allowing the floodgates to open. If you let in 20 million and you deport 2 million, and people go, oh my God, he deported 2 million, but he let in 20 million people. So, you know, I just think it's all cap what they're talking about. And then that, you know, I mean, I appreciate you throwing us a bone, and you didn't do what Joy Reid does. And this is where Ta-Nehisi exposes Joy Reid, because Joy Reid on every show, all she did was attack voters. That's all she did. She very seldom, if it wasn't Trump, and folks, going after Trump is not going after power. That to me is hack. That's what hacky comedians do. You know, going after power would be going after her own party. Because if not for her own party's incompetence, and not just incompetence, because that's letting them off, her own party's intentional. This is where they get cowardly, because America does what it wants to do. And to his point, to Ta-Nehisi's point, if America wanted to stop Trump, i.e. America as in Democrats, the Democrat Party, not Democrat voters walking around, Democrat Party and the powers that be within the Democratic Party. If they really wanted to stop Donald Trump, they could have just got a populist candidate that talked the same rhetoric and was on that same business. And they made sure that wasn't going to happen. Not one election, not two elections, but 3 elections in a row. They made sure no one who was talking anything similar to Trump would make it through the primary or would win the primary to even challenge a Trump 3 times. So you could do something and call it an accident, incompetence, not paying attention once. And maybe if you're really a bonehead like Tim Wall said he is, you can screw up twice. But when you do something 3 times in a row, come on, guys. That's not a bug, that's a feature. They intended to run Kamala or run Biden, which is just as bad. It's even worse than running Kamala, because at least Kamala could count to 5. Like, at least Kamala was not mentally incapacitated to the degree where it was so visibly obvious. Kamala is a bad speaker, but she is not mentally incompetent, able to remember, and she's not suffering through the same type of situation, which is the cognitive decline that we all going to face, or that a lot of us are going to face, whether we like to admit it or not. It's what happens with age for a lot of Americans. Not everybody. A lot of people, not just Americans, a lot of people. So anyway, I just want to point that out. This was interesting. I appreciate Ta-Nehisi Coates throwing the bone and trying to say, hey, it's not all about the voters and shaming them, even though that's what Joy did every day, every show. And for her to sit up there and it's like, and pretend that that's not a direct contradiction to the way she ran her show and what she did, and she did it for money, because she was the hatchet person in liberal media to go after and say the most heinous things about Trump supporters, as if they had 800,000 choices. Now, all they had to do was choose against the left side of the bird and the right side of the bird. But it's just the same bird, just cut in half. It wasn't like there was some amazing vegetarian dish somewhere that they could have had instead of the bird that was, being served. So they had a surf and turf over there, had some Maryland crabs, some blue crabs over there with some, seasoning on it, Chesapeake Bay seasoning on that joint. You know what I'm saying? It's not like they had all these options. It's not like they had a great dessert dish. Wow, look at all this cheesecake. No, it was Yardbird. Left side of the bird and the right side of the bird. Which part of the bird do you want? You want breast and wing, or you want thigh and leg? Which one you want? That's it. Well, you need to get over by that line then. And that's all people had to choose from. So give it up for that segment if that made any sense to you, folks. I think that this conversation is hopefully it will sell him some books. Because I ain't gonna wish bad on a brother. It's just, I just wish these two people had sway within the Democratic Party. If they fought with their party to be a better party, the way Ta-Nehisi fought for Palestinians, in the way Joy fought against powerless white Trump supporters, and that was her main thing. Oh, she went after black Trump supporters like they was betraying black people. There are black people that feel like you're betraying black people just by participating in the elections at all. Like you cosplaying like you. Yeah, Joy don't get it. And it's intentional. Because she does get it. She just pretends not to get it. It continues to fool other people, and for that, she deserves all the smoke. All right, guys, give it up for that segment. It is what it is, guys. Perfect. You made it to the end of the video. I appreciate you. Now, Google thinks this next video is going to be perfect for you. It's right up your alley. So click the next video, watch that with me, and let's keep this politics going. You're built for this.